Hey, everybody, and welcome to Metaphysical Happy Hour. I am your co-host, Cassie Clayton. You can also find me with Stargazers Unite. And
I am Tracey Escobar, also known as the Red Couch Medium, also co-hosting the show. Excited to have you on tonight. We have a great guest. Who is it, Cassie? Who's on tonight?
I'm really excited. So this is also so not only is she just an amazing guest to have on tonight, but also she's one of my really good friends. And so I'm super, super psyched to be bringing her on. But just a little bit about her. Her name is Ana Noyce, and Ana is a Master Reiki Teacher, a Shaman practitioner, Akashic Records Reader, medical intuitive, a blessing giver, absolutely, a psychic surgeon, channeler, author, speaker, and she is also the founder and instructor at Light Language University and has studied under various spiritual teachers as she has progressed in understanding the connection of the physical and the spiritual world as one. We welcome you, Ana Noyce.
Hi, Ana.
Hello.
Hello, lovely ladies.
Welcome to the show, Ana. Everybody grab your drink. It's happy hour. I have my drink.
Woo!
Yes. Water. Drink water. I'm not the only one drinking.
Doing coffee. I know.
But anyway, hi, Ana. How are you this evening?
Thank you, ladies, for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. What a happy and what an honor. So thank you.
You're so welcome. We have so much to talk about. It's like you have so much on your resume of spiritual stuff that it's like, where do we talk about first? I was struggling with it, but I have a question because it just caught my attention when Cassie was reading through your bio. Psychic surgeon. I don't think a lot of people have heard that term. What does that mean?
Well, a psychic surgeon is someone who can see into your body and can go in through the portals and energy fields and open up and close things and help things shift in your body. So we know that we're mind, body, and spirit. And one of the things we're missing, we have the doctors. Well, actually, we have the doctors who do the physical body. We have the psychologists who take care of our mind. And now we're coming in with spiritual anatomy, which is the other part. So as a human being, we are mind, body, spirit. So I help shift the energy that helps to control the physical body and the mind to bring it back into balance. And I always go a triangle because the triangle represents the mind, body, and spirit, each sides. So we look at it in the sacred geometry terms.
But okay. Yes, why would people come to you for that? Like what would we be trying to fix?
Everything. You'd be surprised. Sometimes it's physical ailment. Sometimes it's spiritual. Sometimes it's just an attachment. But the attachment, and we know that when we start to peel back the onion, or peel back pieces of it, we fix this part and then it shifts and then something else shows up and we fix that part and then it shifts again. But we try to bring everything back into congruence so that the person can live a healthier, happier life.
Oh, I love that.
A lot of fun. So we actually we teach this at the university. You mentioned, Cassie, the Light Language University, and that's
tell us what that is. Tell us what that is.
So actually, 7 years ago, gosh, time goes fast. Actually, in 2007, a lot longer.
A lot longer than 7 years, Mama.
But in 2007, I woke up and there was these two beautiful light beings, and I was totally awake, and they were standing by the bed. And they said, Ana, this is not what it's about. And I'm like, what? Because I'm awake.
Yes.
This morning, and my husband's asleep. And I'm like, well, and they started showing me pieces of my life. And what they were talking about was to step in because we were going through an awakening process. We are moving from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. And what's happening is the vibration, not only on our planet, but everywhere in the universe, is raising in frequency. And when it does, guess what? That means we all get to raise too, because no one's left out of this, whether you want to be or not. And there have been times I'm like, I don't want to be awake. This is
right.
Time. But everybody gets to be awake at their own speed. And so as the frequency raises and our bodies raise, then things start to shift. And what we thought, it's kind of like falling down Alice in Wonderland's hole, where she didn't know where the bottom or the top was, and it just kept going. And what you thought was real is not as real. And what you thought was fake or pretend actually is real. So your whole life turns upside down. And this amazing world opens up. And we know also that we are part of the five senses, all of our physical senses. Now get this, all of our physical senses are matched by a psychic sense or intuitive sense, however you want to say. And each one of us have all of the gifts. But what happens is we come in and we start collapsing these gifts. And some of us collapse all of them. And we say, we can't see, hear, feel, taste, all of that.
Right.
And others who use on this other level, because maybe they're using it for survival skills. An empath is a big one. The feeling, they send out the empath because they need to feel how the room is kind of. And so they may be super sensitive, whereas other people still have it. They just don't use it as much, or they've collapsed it. And then, of course, we have the seeing. The clairvoyance is the other one we see a lot of. Not so much the throat or the taste, the smell. Sometimes you smell roses or cigarettes or things when beings are around. But what's happening is all of our senses are opening up, and people are stepping into these amazing gifts. Now, this is what's interesting. The five senses that we think are so prevalent in this three-dimensional world are only 1%. 99% of us is spiritual, because 30% of our soul is in the physical body. The other 70% is outside the body. And we forget, we always think this is the real thing. But it's kind of like saying, Tracy, you're only the spirit, and your car is the real thing.
Right.
But you have to drive the car. So
that's a good analogy.
Right? Yeah. We're kind of backwards. We don't really understand. So it's amazing how this is opening up. And that's where I came into the university, because with so many people awake, and once they start to understand these new gifts, then we opened up the university to help people, because it speeds really quickly. So what took 7, 8, 20 years to study is now taking a few months, maybe a week, or even a year. I mean, it just depends on where everybody is.
Right. I think you came in at a great time, because we're seeing a flood of people awakening and going through this whole process. I know in my own practice, I get asked the questions a lot. What are the symptoms of awakening? How would people know that that's what they're going through?
Yes, well, it's when everything doesn't make any sense anymore, and people are bombarded. And I know people that are even overly sensitive, even their skin hurts or light hurts, and they go into this. And it's different for each person. So what we like to say is it's an energy signature, because we each come from, if you think of dimensions are, they just continue. There's no beginning or end. The soul has always existed, and that blows a lot of people's minds, because you think of new souls and old souls. But we measure new and old by how much they're on the planet, the physical plane. So those are new souls and old souls. But we've always existed, and there's eons of dimensions that we come from. So that makes each one of us have, our fingerprints are all different.
Yeah.
Well, each one of us have these amazing experiences that are all different, and we're all matching up and awakening at these different points, because when the energy rises, it matches those frequencies from those other dimensions, and that's when a person will wake up.
I like how you say that everyone's experiences are different, right?
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
true. Not everybody's going to see a gold being, right? Not everybody's going to see dead people, right? Like everybody's experience is so different. And so I think that's why it was so important just to see what people, what you're experiencing is real for yourself. And I don't want you to compare to any other people, but it becomes your own spiritual experience. Would you agree?
Absolutely, exactly. And I think a lot of people think you can put it in a box, but you can't.
You can't.
And the same thing, even when I work with a client and I step into their energy, I may have all my ideas of the way I think it's going to go, and step in their energy, and it goes totally something different. And I'm like, well, never saw that coming. But this is where we're going, and we go that direction. So it is pretty amazing. Yes.
I think it's fascinating too. I was reading through your story on your website, and just your background. Like, most people aren't immersed in this kind of stuff growing up, right? Or they have experiences, but no one to teach them. They have a family who tells them to shut it down. You had the total opposite. You were supported spiritually. So give me how much your father was an influence to you. Tell me a little bit about him and how he influenced you.
Well, he was amazing. He was in World War II, and also had experiences with the Tibetan monks. And when he came out, he had lots of experiences with the Native Americans. and studied from them. He had studied from the curanderas earlier when he was in his teens and was just always immersed, like you said, immersed in it.
Yeah.
And he had several children from his previous wife before he married my mom, and they couldn't conceive. So they adopted me, and of course later they had my sister. But what's interesting is I'm the only adopted child out of 5. And he had lost a child in birth.
Okay.
So it was interesting because when I came along, he looked at me and he said, "You're back."
Yeah.
So I was the one that inherited the teachings, and he took long times spending out on the ranch, working with animals, showing us how to open the fields and work with the animals and how it affected even rattlesnakes. I mean, I remember one day I came home from school. I'm in 1st or 2nd grade, and there's this huge barrel, and he says, "Come here, I want to show you something." And he hits the barrel, and the rattlesnake rattles in there. And
Okay.
he said, "You see this? This is a snake being, and this being deserves to live, but I'm going to kill it if you want me to kill it. It's your choice." And I'm
Whoa.
like, "No, Daddy, don't kill the, I don't like snakes, but no, don't kill the snake."
Don't kill the
And
snake.
he said, "Well, the snake lives on our ranch, and he might bite your mom or your sister or me or you. And so what do we do?" And I said, "Well, can we take it somewhere?" And he said, "Yes." So he takes the snake with his big stick, puts it in a box, and we drive out along. He puts it in the back of the pickup, and we drive out in the ranch. And he opens it up, and I kid you not, he puts it right in front of him. He opens the box, and the snake's coiled.
Okay.
And he squats down, and he starts talking to snake. And he said, "I respect you. I respect you for being on this earth. We're not going to kill you. We understand that you have your life." And he just talked to the snake, and the snake literally uncoiled and just slowly slithered right past my father in the box and went off into the desert.
Wow.
So I had these amazing experiences with him, showing me how to work with energy. There's another story, if you don't mind me telling.
Yeah, please. It's fascinating.
We had Indian teepees, and we had ceremony at the teepees, and we also stayed in the summer. And so my job was to go pick up the rocks when I was about 8 to put around the fire. Of course, there are kittens in the barn. Which is more exciting, picking up these boulders to put around, I consider it boulders, but these rocks to go around the fire, or go play with a bunch of kittens?
Right.
So I'm taking rocks and I'm dropping them, just boom, and trying to grab the next one that I find and dropping them. And he started laughing at me, and he squats down and he says, "Anna, these beings are alive." And I'm like, "No, Dad, they're not alive." And he goes, "These beings are conscious." And I'm going, "Nope, crazy, cuckoo." He said, "No, sit down for a minute and let me show you." So we sat down, and he goes, "I want you to have the energy." So it's kind of like a Karate Kid, wash on, wash off.
Wash off.
And you have no idea why you're doing this, and later you realize it's a big purpose. And so he wanted me to connect with these rocks. Well, I couldn't. I really couldn't. I tried, but I wanted to play with the kittens. So he laughed and he said, "Okay, go play with the kittens. Go do your thing."
Go.
It wasn't till I was in my 30s. And literally, I had this experience where I astral projected. My husband was at work. I was a housewife and a mom at the time, and the kids were at school. And I did my favorite thing. I had time, and I was sitting knitting, which is my favorite thing to do. And it was quiet, and I was just grateful and just peace.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, my heart explodes, and I go out of my head. And these beings come in there, and they said, "Anna," they said, You're with us." And I said, "Oh," and I'm looking around, and everything turns into molecules and atoms. And I recognize the signature. It's all love. Everything is love. And I look down at these rocks, and they're vibrating in this
So you can
sacred.
see them pulsing, vibrating?
Actually, I could see the atoms dancing in them. And I'm up here, and I'm looking down at my body, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. The scientist, or what I've heard, is that my brain is down there. So literally my consciousness should be here, but I'm up here. I'm not in my body. And then I thought, well, this is interesting. Spirit goes, "Would you like to try something else?" And I said, "Sure." And in that moment, I expanded. So it's not like I go up. It's just an expansion of consciousness. And something falls off, almost like I have clothes, but I'm thinking, well, that's crazy. I don't have any clothes.
Right.
And Spirit said, "Those are all your worries. Those are your fears, and they don't exist in this vibration. And I thought, well, that's interesting.
That's
Because
interesting.
I'm in love. I didn't think I had anything to worry about. And Spirit said, what would you like to do? Well, to make a long story short, I wanted to hear what my friends were next door. And I said, well, what are they doing? I'm curious. And I could hear their thoughts, see them talking, and then it expands into the neighborhood. I have this written, and we've done videos on it in my Facebook. But as I'm kind of expanding and kind of playing with the beings and this expansion of consciousness, and I'm hearing the whole neighborhood, I'm hearing different people walking their dogs and the radio and talking to each other and their thoughts. I thought, well, you know what? Let me just hear all of Arlington, Texas. What the heck? Why not?
Right.
And in the second, my consciousness expands, and I heard thousands of people. I heard their thoughts. I heard them talking to each other. I understood them like you and I are talking the three of us are talking 101.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And in that moment, I thought, wow, this is how God hears our prayers. Wait a minute. I'm not God. And then boom, back into my body. And I'm like,
Really?
tools going, what just happened? And Spirit goes, doubt. Doubt doesn't exist on this level of unconditional love. So what is unconditional? To love without exception.
Yeah.
So these higher frequencies and vibrations, what I learned, and later on we teach in the school, is that matching these frequencies changes our perspective and what we bring, and we all know this, bring into, so we've heard the secret, and how we match and manifest things in our lives.
Exactly.
It also changes the way we are ill in our bodies.
Thoughts create your reality, right?
Exactly.
They do. They do. That is fascinating, Anna. You have such a cool story. I want to take you back to when I think you were 13.
Oh, yes.
I think that's what I read, right? What happened?
What happened?
I'm going to drink on that one, but go ahead. Tell your story.
I wanted to be normal. So what is normal? Normal is not understanding how to communicate with animals and the world around you in the spiritual world and communicating with energy and healing and things like that. And so, yes, so I decided to go, a friend of mine invited me to a church. So I actually joined a church and became a Christian and walked that walk. And did that for up until I met my husband and we raised our children in the church. And I really, at that time, I always think of people, it's like, I didn't want to have anything to do with anything my father taught me. I really was like, you ever see a child when they hold their breath? And they turn, I was doing that. I was like, you can't do any of this. This is
really?
Yeah, I was like, no, this is. And what happened was that was about 2004, 2007. 2007, the awakening started happening. And guess what happens? When it starts happening, you start breathing in. You start taking those little breaths. And when you start taking those little breaths, everything starts leaking out. So I started having these amazing experiences in the church. I started seeing angels and guides and beings and people around. And I used to sing in the choir. I had this experience where I'm singing in the choir at the church. Well, actually, I was in the choir, but I love to sing, and I sing off key, and I'm really terrible at singing because I can't hit the notes. But they said, just make joyful noise, and they put me in the background of the band, and I thought it was so cool, so I could get in there. And they gave me a microphone, but they turned my microphone off. I didn't know that, but I sang, real loud. And one time I was singing, and our lead singer, she was amazing, and she was singing the Revelation song, and she hit this note, and she holds it, and then the backup singers jump on. Well, I think I must have hit the note right because I exploded again. My heart explodes. It opens up, shot out of my head, and I go into this light of golden white light, and there's these beautiful beings there, the beings that I know. And they're like, Anna, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here. And they like, you have to go back. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back. They said, no, you need to go back. You're holding the note and you need to go back. So I pulled the energy back, my soul, my body, spirit back into my physical body. So it's like shining a light in your eyes where you're seeing, lights. You kind of see dark spots.
Yeah.
As I started to get my eyesight back, It's like a hot mirage on a day where you see a hot on the pavement. You see that kind of mirage.
Yeah.
I saw this wave go over the whole congregation, and in that moment, people burst out in their auras of golden light, and other people were pitch black. And I'm singing up there, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And I'm asking spirit, because I know at that time I'm speaking to these beings, and they're talking directly to me, and I'm like, "What's nothing?" So we finish, we go sit down, and our pastor, because it's usually lunchtime, and he's trying to get the sermon and get everybody out for lunch, because otherwise people complain because they need to go to lunch.
They want to go eat, right?
They're hungry. And so he sat there, and we all sat there because nobody wanted to move. See, something supernatural happened to us.
Something happened.
It was amazing. So we're sitting there, and it wasn't until later, finally he gets up. It was maybe 10 minutes later, but because this amazing energy hit all of us, and nobody wanted to break it. So finally he gets up and he does the sermon, and I'm driving home, and I'm like, "What just happened? Somebody tell me what happened?" I'm driving by myself because my family and kids have gone to first service. They're already home.
Right.
And somebody comes in and they said, Anna, and I always hear my name, Anna. When one remembers, others remember. That's all it takes.
Really?
And when we step into our power, it goes out into our spirit anatomy, into our physical body, and then it goes out into 70%. So we reach out our arms, and then it starts hitting other people, and people start awakening, and they start stepping in. And so that was the cool part, because I remember looking out at the stage and looking out at the people sitting there that were gold, and they were engaged, they were excited, there was something going on. And the people that were pitch black, they were nervous, they were digging in their purse, they were trying to, you could tell they were uncomfortable. And I've been in the congregation for 20 years, and I said, "Well, so-and-so and so-and-so." And they said, "Well, it's not about judging." They said, "Anna, it's about choice. Each person chooses. And one day you will choose. And one day you may not choose. But we have these moments of
choices.
Of choices, yeah. And that's what it's about. And the longer that we hold it, well, the more we awaken. So light language is our every thought, word, deed, action, or breath that we've ever taken, recorded in past, present, future, and parallel lives that all come and combined into this one. And when we step into the power, it activates this energy, and people start to awaken into their spiritual gifts, which is part of the awakening process, right? That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So, I tell people, like, going on a spiritual journey, it's about the experiences you have. You witness the magic, right? You can become witness to the supernatural. I can't even explain it. I feel bad for people who don't get to experience it, but a spiritual journey is about experiences, I think, and you get to experience some really supernatural phenomena. I just wholeheartedly, it's crazy. And you've had so much of that, Anna. You had so much experience. I think that's what's fascinating to me. Because you have the Christianity background, I wanted to ask a question, because this comes up a lot. People struggle with that, right? They struggle with Christianity and believing in what we believe in, and the struggle back and forth in the Bible, and the heaven and hell concept and all of that. What, any education around that, since you've been on both sides?
Yes, I can actually answer that question. So there are 4 levels of consciousness that we all participate, whether you're conscious of it or not. And you can't ever not be a part of it, because it's like if I were to say, "You guys, this is not my hand," and you're looking at me and I'm like, "No, this hand doesn't belong to me." But you're like, "No, that's part of your body. That's right. Your hand." "Well, this isn't my head." "No, that's Anna, that's your head." So these levels of consciousness are part of us. So there's the first level, which is the individual. That means we recognize ourselves and how we participate. The second one is group. And that's kind of what we're seeing out right now. It's our friends, family. It's the people that we come in and we participate in life. It can be our workers, the people that are around us.
And what did you call it?
It's group.
Group. Okay, so individual, group. Okay.
The third one is collective. That is every individual. And what's exciting about that is that we all agree that this is a bottle of water. Right. And so the scientists are really interesting with quantum physics. They're understanding that atoms are just moving around and they're doing their thing. But what creates and what makes a bottle of water is consciousness. So it is actually the collective coming together on, it's almost like we're in a holodeck, kind of in Star Trek. For some of you that are old enough to know Star Trek.
Yeah.
There's a holodeck. Some people don't. But it is the consciousness that we all agree that this is a bottle of water. If we agreed that this was a monkey, it would turn into the atoms and it would leave. So we agree on the physical realm, kind of how the structure of the realm is. Now, then God consciousness is oneness, God creator, and it's what holds everything together. And interesting enough, when I was in that level of people and I could hear their thoughts, I was only in part of the group because it's only part of the city. Collective is every individual.
Everybody.
Yeah, so that was only a group. But when you hit oneness, and I've had other experiences where I've shot out of, and again, it's the keys to the kingdom are that love and gratitude. That's it. That's all we need.
That's it.
Yeah. It's that simple. And that's what my father was trying to do. And when I did actually merge with the rock beings, and I realized my father, one of the teachings of the Native American is that we are in the dream of the creator. We're part of the dream. And I'm like, Dad, that's crazy. How can we be dreaming and be, and he's, when I actually went into another state of understanding and shot out and expanded into this consciousness of level, this fourth level, I realized the rocks were conscious. They weren't conscious like a human being with a brain. They weren't thinking the way I was thinking, but they were part of this level of consciousness that's beyond anything that I recognized. And everything was conscious with this level of consciousness. The air, the chair, my body, everything. It was unconditional love.
What did you call the fourth? What did you call the fourth one?
God, creator, universe, whatever you want to call it. Yes, it's God, that creator. So what was interesting, and that's kind of what shifted me from the Christianity, because with Christianity, I loved the way we worshipped and the way my friends were. But then when I hit that level of consciousness, then I realized everything. It awakened everything, nature, air, all the elements, all the, everything around me. And these beings, they love, they're unconditional. They love unconditional. So they were wanting that awakening so that we could work together. So yes.
So speaking of unconditional, that ties back into the concept of hell. What do you think? Like,
oh, easy peasy.
Tell me.
So my father used to, this is something he taught me when I was little. He would sit in the horse pen, or we'd come down the horse pen, and he'd say, Anna, come here. And I want to show you something. And he'd squat down and he'd draw in the sand, or the horse pen, it's usually dirt because they trample it down. And he'd draw a cross. So we'd have this cross. And at the top, he'd write unconditional love. And at the bottom, he'd write fear. And this cross part, the horizontal line, was called the heart line.
Okay.
And then he'd say, okay, let's name some emotions that are above the heart line that are, and we love, it's love, joy, peace. And if you Google, there are like 1,000 different emotions that you could actually write. And we'd write a couple of them. And then we go down here, grief, apathy, pain, anger, we'd write these.
Right.
And so what happens is it's the same way when you're working with dimensions. So dimensions are kind of the same way. They're infinity from 1 to 1 all the way to infinity, and they're infinity all the way to a negative. And then they're also parallel. So it's one dimension. So think of, have you ever gone to change your clothes at a clothing store and they have mirrors and you look at yourself? I don't know. Sometimes it's
infinity.
Not good. Yeah, you just keep seeing these mirrors and you're like, wow. So third dimension is the same way. And I asked Spirit, I said, okay, how do I explain to people how this works? And they said, well, think of a grain of sand on a beach. And the sun is hitting the sand, and the wind is hitting it, and the elements, and somebody picks up the sand and they throw it into the water. But it's still on third dimension, but it's having a different experience because now it's underwater. So it's a different type of experience. So you've got to look at it going infinity. So to answer your question about heaven and hell, it is what you match. Whatever you believe is the frequency that you achieve. And I was actually working with and this might help. I was actually working with one of my students, and she was an intern. I used to take interns at the time. And we had gone into a vision, and she was working with this dark entity. And she said, oh my gosh, and it was scaring her. And I said, give it a moment, hold the space, hold the light, give it a moment. And she said, oh my gosh, it's a little girl. And I said, yeah, sometimes they try to look scary because of what's happening if they get caught in those realms. And I said,
Right.
why is she not crossing? And she said, well, her mom's being tortured over here in this other astral realm, and she won't leave. And I said, well, does she tell her to tell her mom that it's her choice? She doesn't have to be tortured if she doesn't want to. It's a choice. And my student goes, never mind. Her mom heard the message. She heard you, and she left. And the little girl left, and they both went ahead and crossed.
Wow.
And so the same thing is as above, and we know this, as above, so as above, so below, as within, so without. So the same thing works on this level that my father taught me. If you believe that you need to go to hell, you will attract and you will create this energy. So I like that we did create something where people confess their sins. Why do we confess their sins? Because you let go of it and you change your frequency and you go to a higher level.
Got it.
Because it is what you believe and what you think. So Gandhi's last words on earth are what he wanted to do was laugh. And when he laughed, it raises your frequency. And guess what? You go to a different frequency.
Right.
Right. But a friend of mine was a hospice nurse, and she asked me the same question, Tracy. And she said the guy that she was, the man that she was taking care of, he was terrified. He was going to go to hell because he was one of the people that dropped the bombs in World War II, and many people died.
Yep.
And she said, sure enough, and she was one of us, she could see and hear. And sure enough, she could hear the dark beings, and they came, and she took him, scared her, and they took him.
Okay.
But if he had changed his mind and forgiven himself, he would have been able to go. But again, it's a choice.
So we create it. We can create our own heaven, our own hell.
We do.
We create it ourselves, right? So it's not a judgment or a punishment. It's all within us, right?
But we create our own judgment and punishment.
But we create our own punishment, right?
Exactly.
So it's not a judgment from God or a judgment from Source. It's we create. Yeah.
We do. We're such
fascinating.
Creators. I didn't realize. And so here's one more piece. We're only conscious 1 to 5%. That means 99 to 95% we're running these unconscious tapes. So if we thought we were bad people, then that night, even though in that 1 to 5 we're going, I'm a good person, I want to win the lottery, and then as soon as we go unconscious, which is immediately, because we go sport and go unconscious, then the 99 to 95 says, whatever, you're a bad person, you da-da-da, because that's what we've worked with. Right. And so when we don't, and we're like, how come we're not manifesting when we're doing these things? How come it's not working? Right. Well, you've got to step into changing that 99 to 95. You've got to do the energy work, and you've got to do the body work, and you've got to do the release, and you've got to know it. So there's a difference.
And believe it.
And believe. So here's something interesting. There's belief, and there's faith, but we are in the age of knowing. So what's the difference between the age of belief and faith? So I'm going to ask Cassie. Cassie, did you eat breakfast this morning?
Nope.
Oh, all right. Well, good question. All right. Do you believe that you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
Yep.
Here's the other question. Do you have faith that you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
Yep.
Or here's the big question. Or do you know that you didn't eat breakfast this morning? See, there's a difference.
Oh, I know. Right.
Yeah, I know.
You know. So here's the difference. With faith and belief, there's always an aspect of doubt. With knowing, there's a know that you know that you know that I know that I know that I know.
I know.
I just know. So
I just know.
I know because I know that because it happened to me. I know. You can't tell me it didn't. It happened to me. I know.
I know there's life after death. I know. Like it's knowing. Yes.
Exactly.
I don't believe it. It's not faith. I know.
You know.
Based on my experiences, right?
Exactly. And so that changes everything because belief and faith has that just a residue of doubt, which changes the frequency to go into a different experience. Whereas a knowing shifts it very quickly. And I think that's the biggest thing we're working on now is helping people step into, okay, did it happen to you? And people will question themselves. Well, I don't know. Now that you've asked me, I'm kind of confused. Well, do you know? And eventually they'll say, oh my gosh, I know. I know. Well, that's what you know. So you need to go do that.
That's awesome. Anna, you have 2 books out right now, right? Yes. So the first one, A Journey into the Sacred Heart. Tell us a little bit of synopsis of what it's about.
That was my awakening process. It was an interesting process, meeting these amazing healers and really stepping back into my father's teaching, and going through this journey of learning how this kind of working. And part of it is part of the church and going through that process and the growing and stepping back into my father's teachings. The other one that I have is and yes, that one's actually about gosh, my brain all of a sudden went
In the Mind of the Creator.
Thank you. I can't even remember the name, but that was
I wrote it down.
I probably need to write it down. We published that one. I channeled that one from the guides because that is actually a book for adults, and it's called a children's book for adults because adults don't have time to read. They don't have time to read. And
so you make it simple?
We made it simple, and we also put it, so if you want to see it, it's on our website. We have it on our YouTube. We recorded it, so I'm reading the book, and I think it's pretty amazing. It talks about the chakras, the energy, the physical, and how we step in and how we hold space and step into our spirit. So it's recognizing the evolution of ourselves.
Yeah. And Anna, is that your Light Language University website that is on?
We have them on both. So I have it on the YouTube for Light Language University, and then I have it on Circle Insight. So I have a private, thank you, Cassie, because I have a private practice called Circle Insights where I work with clients and such, and do readings. I read Akashic Records, and I do healings and synergy and spirit rescue, all kinds of different things, clear things. But also, and then in Light Language University, are the teachings, and those I'm channeling from the golden beings and my father. Those come in, and we work with different people.
I went onto your website and I saw the classes. About what's the length of an average class?
Oh, so we're doing workshops. They're about 2 days. It's 14
2 days.
hours.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting, if you take Light Language 101, it's not, if you go in Light Language, if you Google Light Language, they're talking in a galactic tongue. So it's almost like they're talking in tongues, but what it is it's more than that. It's shifting your frequency, your energy. It's this nonverbal. So the speaking in tongues is only a tiny bit of it. And we don't protect, we teach not to protect, because you don't need to protect if you can raise your frequency. So we teach people how to step into their power.
Own power.
Raise their frequency. And when you're in your power, then the universe is like, you're like orchestrating things and changing things in your life. And it's amazing how quickly things shift. Mm-hmm. 101 puts you in your power. 101 helps you change out of your beliefs into your knowing. 102 teaches you how to astral project, how to shift and start working with the energies. And then after that, you go into these other workshops. And then we have classes that are 2 hours and such. So yeah.
So you guys go check out the website. I think there's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of classes and workshops. So thank you, Anna. Do we have any questions before we go into readings, Cassie?
We've had a few comments. Not really questions, but just comments. I did actually want to make a comment on Anna's class, the Light Language 101. It is actually a class that I've taken, so that it really is a great course. So if you have a chance and it's something that you're interested in, I definitely go sign up for it. It's an awesome weekend. You do it in weekends, right?
Yes, we do.
So. And Anna has a teaching background, right, Anna?
I do. I have a degree in teaching, and then I also have a degree in textile chemistry and design. So a BS and a BA, so whatever you want to call that.
She spent a lot of time in school.
And I'm still in school.
And now she's created a school. So anybody on their journey, go check out her website if you have questions. She's got, I think, 2 videos out there that are free, right? That you can just learn a little bit about, I believe.
Yes, we have tons of videos. So if you go to Circle Insights and put Ana, we've got a lot of videos.
Ton of videos out there.
Try to give a lot of things free. And then also you can go to Light Language University website and YouTube, and we have videos too. So try to get as much out there.
And we have dropped both of those links in the chat, so people should be able to just click and.
Can you put it up there for me, Cassie, so I can tell TikTok they're asking?
Yeah, it is. Let's see. So Light Language University is lightlanguageuniversity.com.
Okay.
And Circle Insights is circleinsights.com.
Okay. Lightlanguageuniversity.com and circleinsights.com.
Yes.
Yay! Do you want to do some card pulls? Want to end the show with some little mini readings? I think that would be fun. Yeah?
Yes.
Do it. Hello. I would kindly like a reading, please.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start.
And if you all would like a reading, please leave a comment and so that we know to come find you.
All right, Elizabeth, let me get you because she sent me a little rose. Yes, please. So Elizabeth Femia, TikTok has the weirdest name. So we're gonna pull a card for Elizabeth Femia. Hi, Elizabeth. And I'm gonna use my deck. So I have my own deck, messages from above, that I'm gonna pull from just to see what you should be working on right now. Go ahead. What are you gonna use, Cassie?
I'm going to use my Angel Crystal deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Anna's just going to use her.
The light beam.
All right, Elizabeth. I get the Mankind card. We are one, right? So it's time to connect back with nature, back with people. It's really interesting. When I went through my awakening process, I didn't really understand what that meant, right? What do you mean we're all one? I was really lost when it came to that concept. And one day I went to the beach and I just sat alone on the beach. And I literally connected with every person I saw, my heart to their heart. And it no longer became about judgment. Like I felt an immense love for every person I came back into contact with. So I think it was an amazing experience. So for you, it's about reconnecting, right? Reconnect with yourself, reconnect with people, reconnect with mankind, reconnect with nature. We are all one. And I think it's time for you to plug into that concept, release any judgment and come up with unconditional love. There you go. It's your turn.
And the card I pulled for you is turquoise. And it actually talks about spiritual path. And it says your true beliefs are becoming clear to you, which prompts you to make necessary changes. And I do feel like one of the things that I love about this card, and I'm not sure you can see it totally well on the thing, but it's like, look how much light is around this angel. And it's just like, encircles her. And so, it is a path about not letting other people bring you one way or another. It's just about owning your own path and walking it, and go girl.
Go girl. She said,
go girl.
Oh, wow. Yes. Anna, what do you got for Elizabeth?
Beautiful. Stepping into your power, knowing that you're connected, recognizing that you are just one with everything. And it's all about you. So think about frequencies of turning the dial down, turning it up, and recognizing that power is always within yourself. Never without. Yeah.
Never without.
Awesome.
Yes. Do you have one on your end? I have another one on mine if you need it.
We actually do. We have somebody who's brand new here, and she's asking if she could please have a reading.
Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer. All right, Jennifer, I got the card rejection. And rejection is really all about just redirection. So I know that, in life we hit roadblocks after roadblocks after roadblocks. And if you just put your faith and trust in the universe, they're simply redirecting you and getting you out of a situation that you probably shouldn't have been in to begin with. So I want you to look at every rejection as a lesson, and just know that the universe is trying to get you on the right path. They're trying to move you and get you exactly where you need to be. It's about changing your mindset on the things that have gone wrong. Instead of looking at it as a negative, I want you to turn it into a positive and show gratitude for the things that have gone wrong, because it's moving you into a different direction altogether. Trust where you're being led. All right, Cassie.
Yes. And the card that I moving right into that reading, playing right off of that, is I got the card Appetite, and it says progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
So don't compare yourself. It is one of the things I will say is it's so easy to get on this path and then be like, that person's so much further along than I am, or, that person's doing better, or, I go through that all the time. But at the same time, it's just like, it's not about where everybody else is, and it's not about being perfect. It's about you just owning yourself, and it's okay to make mistakes along the journey. It's okay.
Good job.
Anna.
Yes. So I love this one actually, because it's opportunities in life. And opportunities means that we're going to be collapsing timelines. And so you may be following a path. And what happens is the universe comes in and it throws you a curveball. And a lot of times we look at it as a negative, but it can be the most amazing growth spurt. And if you step into it on the higher levels, you can expand consciousness and you can attain so much more. So think of it as an acceleration. And also the people that are leaving in your place are the ones that are not conscious and not able to step into it, meaning that, and it's like going up a hill. You go up the hill or a mountain, you're not going to go back down. So this is propelling you to step more into that power and propelling you to move forward. So what a great opportunity. And I always look at those things instead of negative. I'm like, yay, this is a time to change.
Yay. I have Paige Hauser has a question. If orbs are safe, if they are on your body. I'm going to let Anna take this one. Are orbs safe?
If they're on your body, yes, they can.
On your body.
Yes. So it depends. So again, I was talking about the positive and the negative. So it really depends where you are. If it is a negative experience, all you have to do is shift your energy. And to me, everything is safe. Even going in, and I've gone to dark places to go look for things or to retrieve things. It's just about raising your frequency. So just remember, the power is always within you. And if you can raise your frequency, anything's safe.
Anything's possible.
Exactly. Enjoy.
I pulled a card for her too, and I got life. And it's about being an active participant. And just along with what Anna said, it's about your perspective and your experience. So, if you are in a stuck place, right, emotionally, physically, or whatever, that's the things that you're going to attract, right? So it's about raising your vibration, finding gratitude in things, and becoming an active part of your life. Create your own destiny, I want to say. Just, we are co-creators of our life. And I don't think we all understand that enough, how much we can create the life we want and desire, right? Things aren't happening to us. We're attracting things to us. So I think if you raise your vibration, better things will be attracted to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually ended up pulling two cards for this one. One is the Diamond card, which the Diamond card it's more about your self-worth. How do you value yourself? And again, that has everything to do with your vibration. And because the more you value yourself, the more you're going to raise that vibration. And so I love this card for that. And then also I did get the prosperity card. So I do feel like as the more you are working on yourself and the more you are working to raise your vibration, the situation is going to keep getting better and better. And then you'll be in a place where you're going to be able to attract those things that bring you abundance and prosperity. And when we talk about abundance and prosperity, a lot of the times people will go into why, like, they will think just about money and just the material and the financial part of it, but abundance can be in your friends and your relationships, and so just being mindful of and getting into that co-creating with the universe.
Good job. Yeah. I have another one. Christy from TikTok wants a card pool. So I will go first. Christy, here's your card pool. I put 2 cards for you. And here's what I got. So Journey. It's a beautiful card too. Look at her. She says up so much.
I love your card deck. Your card deck is awesome.
There's the Journey card. So everyone's on one, whether we realize it or not. It's about an awareness of being on a journey, right? Again, life happens for you, not to you, right? So we're all on a journey, and I think you're kind of going through a shift in your own. So I also got the Awakening card. Welcome to your path of self-discovery is what I'm getting. So you may be going through some shifts. Things may seem like they're not going according to plan, but I think you're shifting, right? You're shifting. So just remember, you're an active participant in this life, and you're a co-creator of your own destiny. So tap into your own power, go within, start healing some of those old traumas, and bring yourself up, raise your vibration. I can't tell you all enough. I get so frustrated. What raising your vibration will do to your life, I just can't tell you enough. Like, right. It's like a magic. It's just magical, right? Yeah. When we talk about raising your vibration, the law of attraction is real, y'all. If you are stuck down here, you are going to attract those kind of vibrational things, right? You're going to have bad relationships. You're going to hate your job. There's so much that can go on. But the minute you change your perspective, you find gratitude in even the little things and even the lessons that you have to learn. You know, I'm grateful for all the trauma I've had because it brought me to where I'm at today. So I took the power away from the trauma and I gained my own power from it, right? Because I'm turning it into a positive, and that's what I think you should do. And I just went on a rant, and I apologize. Goodbye. Yes. Passionate.
Well, and the card that I actually pulled is Divine Intervention, and I always think of that. Who is it? Jason? I forgot. Jason Mraz. That song. It's like, then nothing's going to stop me but divine intervention, and it's like, yeah, like we do get on that path. We will be on that, and sometimes it's on that negative roll. It's running down that that rabbit hole, and we'll just keep going until something kind of wakes us up and pulls us out of it. And so I do think, it's just, again, it's by raising that vibration, you're going to end up having more positive people, more positive experiences, and just keep working at it.
I want to say, heal that wounded child. That's what I just want to say. That's what I keep hearing. You need to heal that wounded child. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anna.
Gratitude is the gift. Looking at the things, even the things, and you both mentioned it, but looking at the things that are shifting. If we didn't have something that got our attention and moved us in a different direction, we'd, like Cassie said, we'd still be stuck in the same rut. So here's the opportunity to shift, change frequencies, but gratitude's going to help. And if you can step into things that you love and remind yourself, it will start helping you to shift. So definitely that.
So let's do we have time for one more reading?
Yep.
All right. Let's go with Karen Ellis.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen. I actually, this is kind of fun. She's, I know Karen through some of my Beamer stuff, so that's kind of fun. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining us tonight.
So the card that I pulled from you, from your guides, I'm going to say my guides to your guides. These are the cards that we're using, is perspective. So that's your key word for the next couple of months, is to look at perspective, look at things beyond your keyhole, right? Sometimes we can get tunnel vision and we can only see things from our perspective. So it funnels into like this little keyhole and that's all we see. But if we zoomed out, we could see things from every angle, every perspective, and then it no longer becomes so personal. I don't know why I needed to say that, but sometimes looking through our own keyhole, things become super personal. Don't take any, that's one of the agreements, I think, isn't it? Don't take anything personal. So
Yes.
I don't know if that's something you needed to hear today, but don't take anything personal, right? Everybody's on a journey. Hurt people, right? Look at perspective, right? What's really going on from zoom out. All right, Cassie, go ahead.
The card that I got is Watermelon Tourmaline, and what the card reads is a stress reduction. So I feel like there's a lot of things that are going on right now that are causing you a lot of extra stress. And I feel like the more you can meditate, the more you can get outside, go for a walk, do things that kind of break up that thought pattern. And that way it's going to help you bring that stress level down. And then again, as the stress goes down, vibration raises. So it's, it's kind of a trade-off. It's a balancing system. So, I would just definitely also, take some time to rest, recharge, give yourself that time and give your body that time to kind of reset. Anna,
This is interesting. I'm kind of glad that it's time to start looking at it, going off of the perspective and recharging, but also to start thinking about maybe taking a class and learning something different, kind of opening the door, something you've always wanted to explore and to see what that's like. So I would, yes, definitely that's coming in as not only perspective, but learning and opening that opportunity for expansion.
Wow.
Sure.
One more?
Yeah, one more.
Just one more really quick one, because I had someone come through. Maybe she needs our help, right? Her name is Amanda. I just had my daughter. I gave up for adoption. Contact me. I could really use a reading. I'm happy she reached out. I'm just shocked and afraid to mess it up. What would we give her as advice?
Oh, wow. This is going to, can I go first?
I want you to do it.
This is personal. I just contacted my mom, my adopted mom this year. And there was a little bit of fear, but I have to tell you, it was the most amazing experience. So what I want to share with you is, wow, this is an amazing experience. And the way that it happens with the DNA, it's perfect timing. And so if you can go into that energy and just know, it's all about love. It's all about sharing and just accepting. And I think when my mom was like, oh my gosh, that was such an amazing experience, and I'm so excited. So
I'm excited for you. I pulled a card too. Yes. The card that I pulled was understanding. If you guys both come into it, just understanding each other's perspective and validating, I think everything's going to be okay. It's all about understanding. Yes.
Yeah, and I did pull Smoky Quartz, which is all about kind of like clearing. It says clearing negativity, but I feel like it's more of setting that intention of that it's going to be a positive experience instead of coming into it with fear. Just spend some time focusing on going into that situation and having it be a positive one.
Yeah.
Loving
and positive. Yay!
Yes.
Anna, where can everybody find you? I know we've said it before, but if they wanted a reading, where do they find you?
circleinsights.com or lightlanguageuniversity.com. So yes, I'm there, and we're on I've got YouTubes, and I'm out there. You can just Google Ana Noyce and I'll pop up. So
and we'll have the links on our Facebook page. We'll put everything out there too. And then on the Red Couch Medium, I have a development circle next Wednesday. So you can check out my, if you're wanting to develop your own gifts, it's a safe place. it's a bunch of newer people, so nothing to be afraid of. You come, you practice, you learn to develop your own stuff. So I have that circle going on next week, next Wednesday. So the link to tickets will be on my Facebook page as well. But if you're looking for a reading, the Red Couch Medium on Facebook, TikTok, I have a website. You can find me anywhere. I'm everywhere, somewhere. I'm everywhere, somewhere. Yes. And then Cassie, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Stargazers Unite. I did actually just want to give a quick shout out to your class though. Guys, like, because I'm in her weekly development circle, and it's a totally safe space to practice, and it's helped me. So no judgment. It's helped me a lot. We've got a great group in there, so please come. Anybody who's even remotely interested, it's just an awesome thing. You can find me on Stargazers Unite, stargazersunite.com. What I do is I create brands for light workers. And so anybody who's interested in building their brand and building their online presence, I can definitely help with that. And thank you. And also, if for anyone that's interested, tomorrow night, we actually start a Market Your Magic podcast off on through my Instagram account. So come find me on Instagram and tune in with us tomorrow night. That'll be a lot of fun. So for Metaphysical Happy Hour, we are on Instagram, Facebook, Metaphysical Happy Hour. We're on metaphysicalhappyhour.com. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, all podcast platforms. we are visible. Definitely visible. So.
Yay!
Yay.
All right. Well, on that note, we will end tonight's show. Thank you, Ana, so much for coming on. I think it was informative. I think people got something out of it, and that's what we're here to do: help teach, inform, and be inclusive. I think that's an important word.
Yes.
So again, thank you. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. See you later. Bye-bye.